In true bad guy fashion, they tricked the sleeping guard into thinking we were part of his unit.
This kid's about to get in a lot of trouble. I'm sure many of you are aware that within the US military, you have units whose entire job is to just be the bad guy, also known as opposing force. And very rare do you ever get to see how these units operate behind the scenes. How do they get all of their gear ready? What sort of tactics do they use against the good guys, the US military, and in this case, NATO? And in this video, we are actually going to be reviewing and looking to the behind the scenes of how the US military creates these fake war game scenarios. My name is T-SPLY, let's get to the video. Quick context, in this video we are going to be following a US Army unit, again, whose main job is to be the opposing force or the bad guy. So we're going to be seeing some European units, we're going to see some Romanians, we're going to be seeing some Americans, so it's a pretty interesting video.
My scout platoon from 1-4 Infantry, they have a reputation of a mythical creature that sneaks up at night and takes things off the battlefield or detains personnel. There is a thrill to being the bad guy.
Yeah. Also, quick disclaimer, I've gotten to be the bad guy before down in Louisiana. It was the most fun I ever had, but besides that, it's the most training I ever had. I learned everything about reconnaissance, how to sneak up on your enemy. We're going to be seeing that in this video, and we're going to be learning a lot, so let's get through this.
For every NATO exercise, you have two sides, played by NATO allies and partners. You have the good guys, and then you have the opposing force, or OP4. They're the bad guys.
What's up? Nowadays, all militaries are all about this dubstep rock music. Like, we're bringing it back to 2012. I'm not mad at it, but we're bringing it back.
I'm here at Hohenfels training area in southern Germany, home of the U.S. Army's 1st Battalion, 4th Infantry Regiment, or 1-4. 1-4 is infamous throughout NATO for providing a bracingly...
And one thing you'll notice, these guys will always have... Like, they'll either be dressed in all black, or what they really try to do is simulate what an opposing force might be dressed as. Maybe they'll dress up as Russian forces, maybe they'll pretend to be like Afghani forces. They try to make it as realistic as possible.
Realistic training experience.
These guys are pretty good at what they do.
Join me as I try to get inside the mindset of 1-4 and see what it takes to be the opposing force.
This is cool.
Welcome to Hohenfels, home base for 1-4.
Now, what's really cool about these units is that they are quite literally a part of the big army. They are a legit force, but besides that, they sort of operate under their own rules, and you'll sort of see here in a minute, like a lot of their vehicles have these yellow or orange lights on top of them. We'll get into that, but again, just realize they have their own customs and rules within their unit, but besides that, they are still of the big army, so they have to follow the rules of the U.S. Army.
I'll be joining them for 24 hours to see how they test NATO allies in an exercise scenario. First stop is to get some new threads.
This part I found so cool because we get to see the behind the scenes right here.
Clip it to here. Yep.
Okay, so this right here is Miles gear, and I've talked about it a little bit before. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It's essentially the gear that you use whenever you go into these training simulations or war games. And as you can see right here, these are receivers that are all over your body. And then when you get hit with the laser beam that comes from the barrel of your weapon, it'll go off, and this little sensor up here will start to, there's a speaker on there, it'll say near shot or near miss, and then it'll start like buzzing and going off like you just got hit. So that's how you know if you got hit or didn't get hit during a war game scenario.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Just got to sign. Okay.
Again, he's signing right here to make sure if you lose it, you're paying for it, just so you know. You're a visitor, but you better pay for it.
All right, cool. I didn't accidentally just enlist in the U.S. Army, did I?
No, you didn't.
Okay. All right, good.
Then I signed on to a reconnaissance mission with 1-4 Scouts, a platoon notorious for being somewhat creative in their methods.
Once the war game starts, it's on. Anything goes. So there are times where like, okay, the first minute, The opposing force, if they want to, they could wipe out like 1/3 of your unit if you're not paying attention. Depending on what the unit is really trying to train you in, like they'll get a brief on, hey, make sure that they're actually pulling security, make sure they're actually paying attention to reconnaissance units who are watching them. Nowadays, I got to watch out for drones. So this is all how it is. Like they're pushing out a scout unit to go spy on the Americans, and that's realistic training.
Our day-to-day job is to be an adversary for ground forces in Europe.
Notice his
driving
uniform.
our allies, and to think and develop techniques to be better prepared for a real adversary if it ever came to that.
Our mission: sneak up on a NATO airfield and observe its helicopters without being detected by any of the guards.
When I was playing the good guys against the bad guys, we had to have constant watch and rotations because I think we'll see in this video, they will quite literally sneak up on you. They'll steal your vehicles. They will capture you. So you got to be on your guard because they are quite literally spying on everything. Bad guys spying on good guys. And as from the good guy perspective, you'll get in a lot of trouble. I've talked about this before. We have had units who were not able to deploy because they failed these training exercises. So you got to take it really serious, regardless if you think it's laser tag.
We're trying to stay concealed so they can make a sketch of the airfield. I mean, it's kind of like a really intense game of hide and go seek. We're sitting here hiding and watching them, and they have no idea we're here.
And I've gotten to do a reconnaissance with these Op 4 guys. They are no joke. Again, like what they're doing, they are also training and they're putting their military skills to the test. So they're also training and taking this very serious. And when I went on this reconnaissance mission with these Op 4 guys, I mean, they taught me how to duct tape everything down. They made me do what's called a bounce test to make sure I'm not too loud. I learned to conceal everything. These guys are no joke.
You got 3 minutes to finish that one.
Look at that.
It's gotta be beautiful. It's gotta make sense.
With the sketch complete, it was time to make a stealthy retreat. But when we heard a convoy of Humvees approaching, we had to dive for cover.
So right now, there are dudes like...
One thing you got to realize is that the good guys have to play by the rules. You do always assume there's bad guys all around you, but you never know. If you've never gone through this, you don't know how serious the bad guys take this. So there are times where you're just rolling down the street as the good guys, and then you get ambushed. So you got to be careful at all times. When this war game is going, anything goes.
10 meters away in that direction. So we're just doing our best impersonation of a potted plant. And staying as still as we can.
Then, disaster struck.
Uh-oh.
I was spotted by one of the guards. While the rest of the team had made a clean getaway, I was stuck.
Of course, you idiot. He doesn't know what to do.
Then help came in the form of an American transport plane.
Just make a break for it.
And by the way, you got to also follow rules of engagement. Just because you quote-unquote see a bad guy, it doesn't mean you can necessarily engage. And it's funny, I don't even think they realize it in this video. The Americans can see he's probably holding a camera, so they're not going to engage a guy with a camera because, again, you're following the rules of engagement.
I used the noise to cover my escape. Mission complete. Until I saw the disappointed faces of the scouts.
Huh? Did you stop when they called out?
Yeah, but then when the planes came over, we split.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, they heard one of us when we got close. They called out a halt, and then we just kept moving. But
That's a good guy. That's a good dude right there. He didn't throw his friend under the bus. He said they heard one of us. That's how you know these guys are a cohesive, a good unit. You have something called a Blue Falcon. And if you are this kid and you're watching my video or any of these guys, I can tell you guys know what you're doing. So I appreciate that.
if you want, I'll send you the pictures and sketches we took.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We learned something. They were alert. They heard us coming. And
Bro, they heard you coming.
I don't want to say I compromised the team.
You did.
But
You did.
I probably compromised the team.
You did.
With a bruised ego, feeling like a liability, I realized I still had a lot to learn about what it takes to play the opposing force.
I have learned exponentially from allies across Europe in this job. We learn a lot about how we communicate.
Notice the uniform. It's so cool. I mean, these guys show up every day with like their own uniform, their own swag. But they do follow the traditions of you have to put the U.S. Army patch on, you got to have your actual rank on, you got to put your name on here. But still, nonetheless, it's their own traditions.
What's more important to our formations, the winning really comes in the readiness built from our NATO alliance here. When you come to train, you will be better prepared and ultimately be able to deter an adversary when you go back to your home station.
So real quick, because we have a really ad hoc team.
Again, these guys are doing briefs. Like, this is not, we put the word game in war game or military scenarios. They take it very serious. And what they're doing here is what other militaries do. So there's standardization across the board. The only reason why these guys have it easier, first off, they get to be more comfortable. They don't have to wear full kit or full gear. They already know the landscape, and they don't have to play by the rules of war. They can do whatever they want. That's just one thing to keep in mind.
Back at headquarters, the scouts are getting ready for a night mission. I'm going to tag along and see what they can do under the cover of darkness.
Oh no, not again.
So what we're going to do tonight is we call it, it's part of our Special Purpose Forces mission. We're going to go out and conduct raids and attempt to capture valuable assets of the enemy.
There you go.
We're trying to catch people while they're sleeping and test who's actually out there pulling guard. And if they're not, we're going to punish their leadership by taking key assets off the battlefield.
Again, and quite literally, if you get caught not pulling security and you have guys falling asleep and then it all gets written down during the brief, he's not kidding when they say we will punish your leadership. Literally during the war game, but after, there are people who can get in a lot of trouble.
Having been spotted earlier, I needed all the help I could get.
Yes.
Staying out of sight, even in the dark.
So the key with applying camo face paint is to break up the form and shape of your face. So we have cheekbones, we have the high points and low points, jaws, nose, ears. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the dark colors on the parts of our face that are most likely to reflect light. So that's like...
Again, this is very basic military doctrine, reconnaissance doctrine. In the 21st century, some people argue, like especially looking at the Ukraine-Russian conflict, with the use of drones, how important it is with this face paint. But it is what it is. It's still doctrine, and it has been proven to work, so you still got to do it.
The high points of your face.
Okay.
Basically fill in all the spots.
Cool. You look mean.
That's the idea.
How do I look?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Got my night optics sorted out. Got my face paint.
I'm kind of surprised they gave him night vision or nods because he already is sort of a liability. I mean, you don't want to lose those things.
Painted. Bags in the truck.
Also, you can tell he's never worn a helmet before because
we will be out all
you'll
night seeing how well everybody has set security.
It's a chin strap, but he has it under like his neck. Those chin straps are specially designed to hook onto your chin here, and then it really grips everything down.
So who's on the menu for tonight?
Truck 2, radio check, over.
So we have I believe it's a Romanian Bertum, just off this tree line right here. We're gonna pull up and we're going to capture it.
All right.
Here we go.
Let's see what happens.
Here, y'all can dismount real quick.
Yeah, let's roll.
Night raid, baby.
However, when we reached a position manned by Romanian Infantry, 1-4 were in for a disappointment.
So we found some Romanians, and these guys were getting ready to take them out, but they noticed that the Romanians were manning their posts. They were paying attention.
Hey, shout out to the Romanian forces. First off, I am Romanian. Second off, the Romanian forces get down. They know what they're doing. Anyone who's ever deployed or has worked with Romanian forces, a lot of people always have a lot of great things to say about them. Disciplined military. And again, these training exercises prove how cohesive NATO can be and why it's so important to do this, because it's proven. We have video evidence. They know what they're doing.
So they figured, not worth it. Good for the Romanians. You know, it's raining. It's been raining. It's cold all day, but all the same, they're alert. They're vigilant. So good for NATO.
After a few hours, we found a new target. A U.S. artillery battery that didn't seem well guarded.
Uh-oh.
In true bad guy fashion, they tricked the sleeping guard into thinking we were part of his unit.
This kid's about to get in a lot of trouble. First off, video evidence that you're sleeping and no one's pulling security. Oof, I'm sorry you got put on blast, bro.
Is this Rios? What's up? Is this Rios? Rios? Yeah, my bad. Is this Rios? I think I walked with the wrong person.
Yeah, no, it's Mac.
My bad, sorry.
No, kid.
Do you know where Rios is at?
There is no Specialist Rios. This guard and his artillery have just been captured. These late-night raids are not always appreciated.
Oh.
But rules are rules. Should
Dang.
these troopers be called upon to defend the Alliance in an actual conflict, they won't likely make this mistake again.
Yeah. And again, now, in turn, technically, the opposing force can use those artillery pieces. They can rig them or booby trap them, and they take away those assets from the battlefield commanders. That's why these scenarios, it's very important to see how cohesive units are, to see the discipline of your troops. And, like, I'm not going to hate too much on artillery guys. They probably should have had some sort of security element a little bit before them, but they still got caught. Anyway, that's the video. I thought it was so cool that NATO released that. Obviously, they're not going to show us all of their tactics from the NATO side, but what they did show is how hard U.S. forces are training, European nations are training, and they showed us what the bad guys do. And even though we call them the bad guy, they're still the good guys. You want to have them on your side because they provide some of the best training ever. It was the best training I ever got to do from both sides, good team and bad team. But you always want to be the bad guy. That is the side you want to be on because it's a lot of fun. It's great training. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video and let me know if you ever got to be on the bad team. My name is T-SPLY and we'll see you later.